everybody, Dean Anbar here, and this is a breakdown, tutorial, sort of lesson video on this arrangement of I Hear A Rhapsody for solo guitar. Why don't I just play it first, and then we'll talk about all kinds of different stuff. So here we go. Okay, so this is written for solo guitar. I was sort of inspired by the feel of like stride piano playing. Now, obviously, we are not piano players, we're guitar players. So the goal is to be able to do more with less. And if you look at the great solo jazz guitar players, Joe Pass, Russell Malone, what you notice is that beyond just their incredible skill and taste, there's a good amount of sort of sleight of hand, I would say. Another thing to note, and I'll talk about this in more detail in the future, is that I have this guitar tuned down a whole step from standard tuning. And I've been really inspired by that. I use it a lot for solo guitar playing and also for duo guitar gigs. I do a good amount of those, and the extended range of even just a whole step, it opens up a lot as an accompanist, as an arranger for the instrument. And, I wrote this on this instrument, which is tuned down a whole step. For the demonstration, I'll switch over to a guitar that's tuned in standard just because I think most people who are going to be learning this are going to be playing on a guitar that's in standard tuning. Although I highly recommend trying it out, see what happens if you take an instrument and tune it down a whole step, and it really makes certain things come alive, especially tunes that you've been playing for a long time. Rearranging them for a whole step down, again, you'll rediscover things about the songs that you probably hadn't thought. At least that's been the case for me. So I'm going to switch over to a standard tuned guitar. This is my Walsh Icon prototype. So let's talk about what's going on here. First things first is, whenever you're playing a tune for solo guitar, you want to make sure that you know the melody and that you know the chords, okay? That's really important. So I'm assuming that you do, I'm going to talk about some of the choices that I made here and some of the voicings and things like that that'll help you get through it. So let's start from the beginning. Now, what we are going to do is we're going to start with the melody. Now, of course, these are harmonized chords. So I started by harmonizing, the first note of the melody is in an octave, and then like a little A sharp 5 with a natural 9, and then shooting up to a diminished chord, an A diminished chord with a flat 9 in the bass. Now for this first chord of the first A, for a little extra tension, I'm playing this as a D minor 9 with a major 7. G flat sus barring on the 11th fret with the first finger, and the pinky finger is playing the melody. And we're separating out a little bit that bass note from the rest of the chord, again, to create the illusion of motion. A little G minor 13. Now here's some tension that I really like. This is from the world of diminished harmony, an A major triad over a C bass note. And that's a sound that comes up again in this arrangement. Big fan of that. So we're splitting some bass movement from some upper structure chords. Here we have an F6/9, and we're going to play the melody. And you're going to want to place that B flat chord, a B flat dominant 7, in the bottom 3 fingers, along with that top note, which is the 9th on the 1st string. Okay? So again, it's a little bit of sleight of hand where you have some melody movement up top and then some chordal movement on the bottom. Here's a D7 flat 9. So you'll do a little bit of a bar with your first finger here. You're going to play this B flat by itself. And then you're going to get into a D7 diminished, again with a flat 9. Okay? Now quickly, you want to get up to this G minor 11. Okay? You're going to let that flat 9 of the C, so there's a D flat here in the melody, you're going to let that hang, and then do a little bit of a half step motion. Okay? Now here again, we're going to play an A major triad with a C in the bass. Again, from the diminished harmony playbook. A little Hendrix move, I like to call that. Not the one you're thinking of, you know. That's from that. Yeah. So, and why not, you know, power chords. So now, let's put that whole A section together, okay? And I'll go through it a little slower than tempo. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so that gets us through the A section. Now for the second A, this is where I started to sort of improvise a bit on the melody, but still arranged for solo guitar chords. So here's what we have here. I wanted to hear this, because I just think that that's a really cool sounding melody, and so I harmonized that. Okay, so these are sort of broken up chords. It's a D minor triad, and you're doubling the 5th here. So that shape just moves down chromatically. And then we're going to get into a lower inverted D minor chord. And this is just a regular old D minor, nothing fancy. So. So now I'm creating a little secondary dominant here by playing the F sharp, which is the leading tone of our next chord, which is G minor. So, and we're just getting into a G minor 7. Now here we have an 8th note line that's happening over a C note, which is held on the 6th string. So you're just going to hold that while you play this descending chromatic line. Okay? This is an F6 chord. the same B flat dominant 7 that we saw in the first A, which is going to lead quickly to an A minor 7. Okay? From the beginning of the second A, it sounds like this. Okay, and that leads us to that A minor 7. Now we're going to do another line. This line doesn't have any harmony on it. It's pretty quick. Little A diminished line. Okay. Some chromaticism. And that's going to lead right to this. Okay, so this is a little bit of triad pairs. Now, triad pairs are pretty much what they sound like, taking two pairs of triads that you're going to be playing that are superimposed over a chord, in this case a G minor chord. And we start with this G minor 9, then to a B flat, and here's a G minor, which is regular G minor. Then here's the B flat, and here's a C. So these are just standard shapes on the guitar, but the triad pair of B flat and C describe what's happening in a G minor, like a G Dorian sort of a sound. Here we get a C7 sharp 9, E diminished, F6 9. So we get a little sort of classic jazz leading tone vocabulary. So let me just again go through that second A and just go, just to hear everything all together. Okay, now we're at the beginning of our B section. So let's get into this. There's just a little line here that I wrote that sort of connects the two sections. A little jazzy with a double stop, which is, guitar players' rights to do that. We're going to be going down a descending B minor 11 chord. E7 flat 9. Okay, now what we're going to get into is a little bit of alternating of walking bass line movement with the melody on top. That's a G7 13 with a flat 9. So again, from diminished dominant chords will have a natural 13. It's a really cool, sort of a brighter sound than an altered chord would be. It's got a great tension to it. So one more time on that. So that kind of brings you through it. And now there's, again, the hardest part about that is going to be getting used to making some motion happen in the bass notes. And hopefully this sort of falls enough under your fingers with the way that you're shaping these chords. And of course you'll need to do some right hand sort of precision to get all of that happening at the same time. And really, there's nothing like just sort of practicing, to get it. I like to use a pick. I also sometimes like to use my fingers. It kind of depends. When I did this, I used a pick. And so I'm demonstrating this the way that I performed it when I initially wrote it. But obviously you can do like this. just sort of depends on what you like. So, okay, there's our G7, well, sorry, G13 flat 9, C6 9. Now again here with continued bass motion. Nice thing about a C chord is that you've got that third right there in the low E. Moving up to a B flat. Now to our minor 2-5, which is going to lead us back to the final A. So we have this A. It's a, you know, partial diminished chord. I mean, it is a diminished chord. With the low E ringing out. Some nice tension there. Half step motion down to an A7 chord. Now, for this final A, I love the sound of contrary motion, and I wanted to include that in this melody. So here's how we're going to do this. This is maybe my personal favorite technique. As the melody ascends, there's a counter melody that descends. And you put those together. Okay, and we're going to continue the melody. Let's just get up through that. Talk about what's happening here. So we have this descending motion along with the ascending melody, landing us into a D minor chord, which is implied by the F. Okay, and of course we have the 9th, which is in the melody up top on the 12th fret of the first string. A D7 being implied, which is the secondary dominant to our G minor chord. We're going to play this as a G minor 13 again. A G sharp diminished chord, which is going to lead us to this A minor 7. B flat 9, back to A minor 7, to F sharp diminished. So you're going to play that F sharp diminished as a chord and then play some of those single notes right after. Now this is going to lead us to a G minor 11. Okay? So again, splitting between melody moving up, bass moving down. Now here, we're going to just tag the ending. That's what I did for this arrangement. So this is going into an A minor 7 to a D sus 4, which then resolves to a D7. Of course, guitar players, we can do some open strings if we so choose. And then finally, this little melodic tag. Count bassy ending. Ending on an F major 6 chord. So one more time, that whole ending. So really trying to expand on all of the potential ranges of the guitar, again, to create the sound of a fully comprehensive, musical range, which we have. We just got to get creative with it. So there you go. Of course, feel free to drop me any questions about any specific parts of the arrangement that are challenging, or any questions about coming up with some of this harmony or the function of the harmony or anything like that. I am looking forward to making more videos of arrangements like this one and other concepts for guitar, things like, effects and gear and, even tuning down a whole step or whatever they may be. So I'm open to hearing about what you would like to hear about. And that's it for today. So thank you for checking it out, and looking forward to more.